Hi, this is Cheryl of Majestic Wire Artworks. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make these fancy top heart earrings in time for Valentine's Day. And we're also going to do the component with the 3 bicone beads here. And that's just to give extra length. It's your choice whether you want to make that or not. But that's what we're going to start with, is we're going to make those components first. And so if you want to use just some scrap wire, that's fine. Or else just get some working wire, 20 gauge wire. And it's being, there we go, it's trying to get away from me. So this is how I go about making it. I make a P loop on the end. My favorite size, CP, and then I go like this, and then I bend it and make it an eye. So it's just like a head pin, an eye pin, and then I put the 3 beads on. Okay, so 3 beads, slide it down, and we want this loop facing this way, and the other loop we want facing the opposite, like at 90-degree angles. So I'm just going to use the beads, and I'm going to do a bend like that. So it's not quite 90 degrees, and you see how that's crooked there? We'll fix that later. And so the next step is to make the same size of loop at the other end of the beads and wrap it around. Like that. And then we're just going to snip it right there. Okay, so it's like that. And then it's, oops, wrong plier. Just hold that and see how it's bent. We're just going to straighten it out. And straighten that out as well. And then you look at it from all angles and straighten out anything that needs straightening. And that component is done. So just need to make a second one. I'm going to pause it for that one, and you can go ahead and make yours. Okay, so now I have my 2 components made, and we can set those aside and start on making our heart earrings. So I'm going to get you to take your 11-inch piece of 20 gauge wire and bend it at 4.5 inches. Bend both of them at 4.5 inches, and we're going to take our round nose pliers and make the top of the earring loop. And we're going to have the shorter piece down here in our left hand or right hand if you're left-handed, and you're going to have the longer part of the wire making the loop and the wraps. And we want, is it a nice neat loop? Yes, it is. 3 wraps. Okay, and that worked out pretty neat. We'll straighten it out a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to straighten out this wire a little bit, just with my fingers. Okay, So now I want you to take your other wire and do the same thing, but we're going to make a backwards loop so that it's going to be wrapping the opposite way. And that's going to help us mirror our earrings. So we're going to do that, we're just going to have the wire go to the back. And see it, and it's facing the opposite way. It looks nice and neat. And again, we want to do 3 wraps. Okay. So again, I have, well, that's just 2 wraps. What am I doing? I need 1 more. Okay. And I'm just going to straighten that out. Just like I did the other one. Okay. So the next thing I want you to do is make sure that this wire is nice and straight according from the loop. Okay. There. And now, first thing we're going to do is we're going to make this little loop over here. And we're going to do it on each one separately. And so what we're taking is the part that was longer, the part that made the loop. We're going to make a little loop on this beside the wraps. Like that. Okay, and we want to make a similar one with the other earring. So we're going to compare the two. Pretty similar. This one needs to be made smaller. So I'm just going to tighten that up a little bit and compare them again. And it still needs smaller, so I'm going to just pull it and pull it again. There. Now they look pretty close. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to take this one, and it's the one with the wire on the right hand side. I'm going to put a bicone on it, and these are 4mm bicones, and the hearts were 12-meter hearts. And now I'm going to put the heart on as well. Okay, so this wire is going to hug this side of this heart, and in order to lock the heart in place where we want it, we're going to take this wire, and we're holding the beads tightly in place. We've got this level, flat, and we're going to bend it like that, and that's going to lock the beads in place to make it easier to work with. Okay, so now I want us to take this wire and hug it around the heart and come behind this wire here. So we're just going to hold the bead and hug it like that and come just behind this wire. Okay, so and it's going to move on you, but there, you just hold it. Now I'm holding the 2 wires in this hand like a pencil, and I'm using my finger against my other finger, and I'm going to make a swirl right here beside the hole of the heart. Twist it around. Okay, so looks like that. And I'm going to flip these wires to give it more interest, so that the opposite one is on top. So I flip them, and now I'm going to loosely take it behind the heart just over the corner here, and then wrap around here with it. Okay, so watch as I go. I've got the opposite one on top, just going behind the tip of the heart there, taking it right underneath that loop and holding this in place with this finger. See how the pressure's on my finger there? Holding that in place and bending it around like this by pushing it. Okay, so that part's done. And now we can do the same thing with the other earring and get it caught up. It's just in reverse. So I'm straightening this out because it got bent. If you want to, you can straighten it out with your pliers. It's not that crucial that it's perfectly straight, but just where it's the beads are going to sit on. So I want the bicone first. And the 12 millimeter. This is red jade. Okay. So this time we're hugging this wire on the opposite side. And we want this to lay flat and the bead to lay flat. And now we're going to lock the beads in place like that. And is it straight? Okay. Just made sure it was straight. And now I'm hugging this wire up against the edge of the heart and coming behind the other wire like that. Okay. And now I'm holding it like a pencil again, the two wires in my fingers, and I'm gonna make a swirl. And we want to try to make the swirl very close to the other earring. See, like that, it's pretty much the same size. So if this was a little bit too small, I would push these wires and try and make it bigger again. If it's too big, you pull on the wires a little bit and it would make it smaller. Okay, and I'm noticing this is, they are not level. Now I'm flipping the wires. Okay, so I came from the inside with the bottom wire and moved it on top. And now I'm going to make it curve around the heart and just barely go behind the back top corner. Okay. Bent on me a little bit. You want to go loosely. Okay, and then around like that. Okay, so let's compare the two. And they're fairly close. This one hid behind the heart a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this one hide behind the heart a little bit more. And just pull on these wires a little bit to match it up. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. Okay, so now we want to the reason why I'm not too worried about that it's little bit different is the next step is actually going to hide that area of the earring, because we're going to make a loop and then these little curls here, so it kind of hides that part, so it's okay. Okay, so now I'm holding it like a pencil again, and I'm going to make another swirl, finger swirl, right beside this loop on the opposite side. And I squished it down. And if you want more interest in it, or you want it bigger, make it bigger by pushing back. You can push it down a little bit. You know, you can decide on placement by playing. Okay, and then the next step I'm doing is I'm going to snip these wires off. I'm going to measure from the point where it crosses here 1 centimeter. Or you could do it 11 millimeters if you wanted, but I'm going to do it 1 centimeter. Okay, you see how I've got right there at the edge? And now I'm going to take my snips. Hopefully I can hold it really still. Might be too long. Yep, it's a little long. So I'm going to snip off a little bit more. Okay, so I guesstimated there. And if I'm a smidge longer than 1 centimeter, I'm gonna just leave it as is, but it's pretty close. And let's do the same thing now for this earring. So we're gonna make a loop. And because I've got my other hand, I'm using my thumb this time to push on it and make that little spiral. And now back to my fingers. Let's see if it's the same size. It's pretty close, almost the same angle. So that's I'm really happy with that. Okay, and now I'm going to measure 1 centimeter there as well. Now I'm going to snip it a little bit long on purpose. It's moving on me, so I'm snipping a little bit long. And then I can go like this and see how much I need to trim back. Okay. So I'm guesstimating. And now I'm thinking it will be just a smidge longer than 1 centimeter again. There we go. It's just a tiny bit longer than the other one, so I'm just gonna cut it back a hair. Okay, so the next step is the top wire. Pull it up a little bit, and we're gonna just cut off just a tiny, like 1 millimeter, 1.5 millimeters shorter than the other wire. You got to be careful that you do cut the right wire. It happens sometimes where you cut the wrong one. So it's just a little bit shorter. Do the same with the other one. Lift them up. Always separate them, because you can cut this one by accident and you don't want to do that. Okay, and then to finish it off, you take your tip of your chain nose pliers and make a tiny little loop at the end. And if you have really tiny tips of your round nose pliers, you could use round nose pliers here as well. Okay, like that. Just to set it where you want it to sit. Okay, and now I'm going to do this, finish off the other end. And curve it as well. And if you want more curve to it, you can curve it up a little bit more. And that one's done. Now I'm just going to look at the top. I can see that this loop isn't sitting where I want it to sit, so now it's sitting in the right direction. And that's done. Okay, and I'm going to finish off the other one the same way. So I've got the back of the earring facing this, so I can do it right-handed. Okay, so I'm going to move these around so that they kind of match the other earring. Okay, so I got to curl them up a little bit more. Okay, and I'm going to push down. There. Okay. Slight variations between the two, but pretty close. Okay, so now they're from the top, they're both pretty level, so that's good. I'm going to take our components we made earlier, and you're going to take a look at them, and you're going to check the loops out. One loop is going to be more round than the other. The rounder loop should go on the ear wire because it's going to face forward, and that's what we're going to look at. The other loop is going to face this way, and we're just going to see that part of it. So it's important that it sits level that way, but the fact that it might not be perfectly round won't be as crucial. So we're going to open up the one that's not as round, just like you do a jump ring. Okay, and there we go, and then close it just like a jump ring. We want to make sure that it's sitting correct, and it is. Okay, so that one's pretty much done. Just needs the ear wire. And now I'm going to take the other component and check which one's the rounder end. And that's the rounder end, so I'm going to open up the one that's not as round. Straighten it. Okay, so now the next step is to put the ear wires on. So you open up your ear wire. Make sure your earring's sitting the right direction. And now you check to make sure it's all hanging right. And then straighten anything that needs straightening. And it looks pretty good. Okay, so that one's done. And now I'll put the ear wire on the other one and do the same thing. Okay, so that's the front. Okay, see this loop? It looks a little bit wonky. I'm just going to straighten that up. Just so it looks better, even though it kind of bent these wires at the back. That looks better. Okay, so there they are, and they're done. So I wish you the best with making yours, and happy Valentine's Day. It's coming up soon, and God bless, and take care. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.